Welcome back. This is a weekly reading for my air signs. This is for the week of December 22nd through the 28th. As always, this is a collective reading, so if it doesn't resonate, just leave it and let's dive in. First up, we have possibilities, free-spirited, adventure, risks. Then we have breaking point, limit, final straw, overwhelmed. And lastly, we have family, fertility, parenthood, pregnancy. So the possibilities, I feel like you guys are feeling particularly optimistic at this point. I think that, we're winding down with 2024. 2025 is very well in our sights on the horizon. And I think that that's where your optimism is coming from. I think that you're looking back at what you've pursued this year, both personally and professionally. I think that you took some risks, both with yourself and in life in general. I don't think it's anything too crazy, but I think that they were measured and calculated in a positive way. And those risks allowed you to get to know yourself a little bit better. It allowed you to pursue some things. I'm hearing particularly on a professional level, and really the risk sort of paid off. And I think that you're in a period of reflection and really appreciating where you were versus where you are. And I think that you're looking forward to continuing to pursue this journey for yourself, personally, professionally, in life in general, and you're looking forward to what you can bring into your life. I have to be honest, the breaking point card is a little out of place, I feel like. Even the words, the only thing that's really jumping out at me on this card is the overwhelmed. I think that that's entirely plausible. It is, it's a happy time of year, but it can also be a little intense, right? Like we have a lot of activities, a lot of social engagements, a lot of things that we have to do on our to-do list. We're wrapping up our fiscal years in a lot of cases from a professional perspective, and it could be an overwhelming thing. I feel like there's more to this card, but I'm going to hold off on exploring anything else until we can get some clarity with our next round of cards. Absolutely, the family card, there could be somebody you know, it could very well be you, that is pregnant, that is maybe pursuing parenthood in some way, shape, or form. If you are not pregnant and you don't wish to be pregnant, I would take the necessary precautions. But this could also be, I just heard that the family and the breaking point could very well be related. Maybe there is, for some of you, family discourse, and you might be hitting your breaking point. I get that for some of you, you might have been pursuing family discourse differently than you have in the past, and that might actually be causing a few more ripples than usual, or maybe even you expected. We already know that you're not the same person that you were 6 months ago or even this time last year. So how you're handling this discourse could be a problem in and of itself, air signs, for some of you. This family discourse, causing you to be overwhelmed and at your breaking point. There might be something that comes up that is a final straw in relationship to this family situation. I think it's really going to be you guys, whoever's watching, who's ever listening, you're going to know if it's the happy somebody's pregnant and our family is expanding card, or is it family is the source of my frustration. You guys will know. So let's try to get a little bit of clarity here, air signs, on what this might be about. And while I am shuffling, if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. There is still time to get a 2025 insight reading. If you're interested, there will be a link in the description box below to book that one-on-one reading with me. All right, so I am still waiting for one more card, but first up we have the Hanged Man, sacrifice and waiting, perspective, lack of direction, and then we have the Seven of Pentacles, harvest and rewards, results and growth, progress and patience, planning and focus. I sort of feel like they're a little opposite. I think that the Seven of Pentacles absolutely goes with possibilities. I think that you are reaping the rewards of the hard work that you put in when it comes to pursuing your own personal growth and healing journey. I definitely think that you are seeing results. I think that you are, they're easy. The results of your efforts are easier for you to see now than they were even like a month ago. I think you are finally fully recognizing how much progress you have made. You're not dwelling on how far you have to go to make more progress. You are being very patient with yourself. You're actually finding solace in the stillness of not moving forward, not looking back. And you're excited for your continued growth journey. The Hanged Man, I think, is definitely, this sort of goes both ways. I think the Hangman, if it is a family discourse situation, the Hangman is you. I think that your perspective on this situation is different than it has ever been before. And because of that, you are taking the path of watching and waiting. You're not reacting. You're choosing to be patient and to respond only if and when necessary. If it is in relation to the family card in the positive sense of an expanding family, pregnancy, etc., I think that the patience and waiting, you may have waited a long time for this to happen. Your perspective on this situation might have changed. I don't think that the lack of direction applies to the family card in the positive way. I think if anything, this is in relation to a specific person involved in the family discourse. And then lastly, we have the Knight of Pentacles, practical and reliable, slow and steady, committed and patient, conservative. I think that this is how you are showing up, to either situation, right? If it is the positive aspect of the family card, you're gonna move forward cautiously, and that's okay. It's in a positive way for sure, but you're, pursuing these things cautiously. You're trying to protect your heart is what I'm hearing. If it's the opposite end, the family discourse side, this is how you're showing up, right? You're being practical. You're not being emotional. You're moving at a slow and steady pace. You're not, being reactive. You are not going to handle things in an explosive manner. You are committed to your growth path, and you are patient with the situation because of the growth and the healing that you've had. You are sort of choosing to be conservative in your presence is what I just heard. So if your presence isn't necessary, you just remove yourself, because you're not about playing that game. Not this time. I heard not today, not this time. No, thank you, is what I heard. Okay, so we have a handful of cards that came out here. We're going to go through them together. First, we have horse, which I immediately heard take off running. Then we have flag. If you notice, it is a black flag. We have ice, and then we have pomegranate. The pomegranate card makes me think of, I always seem to focus on the seeds of the pomegranate. And if you've ever eaten like a whole pomegranate, right? Like there's a lot of work that goes into getting the pomegranate seeds out of the pomegranate. They're all sort of like embedded in the skin of the pomegranate, and like you need to work to get them out. What I'm hearing is that's sort of this discourse, right? Not you, air signs, but whoever it is that's involved in this family discourse, like the overall problem is the pomegranate. And I feel like that's easy to identify. But inside the overall problem are all these little seeds that are embedded in the skin of the big problem. And each seed is a small like grievance, resentment, etc., etc. So I don't think that you're necessarily going to, sorry guys, the sun pump's working double time these days. It's raining over here. But I don't necessarily think that you're going to work through all of the seeds, and nor should you, because none of this is your problem. I think really you just need to know that if you think that you've identified what the big problem is, aka the pomegranate, just know that there's all sorts of little things inside that pomegranate that will eventually need to come to light one way, shape, or form, right? Either the individual or individuals that you're dealing with are going to have to deal with their own shit. But I just heard not before throwing them all out, right? So just know that if you're being presented with one thing, there is likely a lot of little things inside of that one thing. The ice, to me, it's stacked. So there's three. So it could be you against two other people. There could be three people. And when I say against, I mean like your perspective could be one and other two could have the same perspectives, or all three of you could have different perspectives, or it could be you against three different individuals or perspectives. The black flag, to me, I know it's black, which to me is protection, right? So this might be warning you to protect yourself from an energetic level. Certainly we should all be grounding and protecting ourselves energetically at the holidays as often as we possibly can. But I don't think that you need to protect yourself physically. I'm getting mostly just energetically, and also sort of like a reminder to prepare yourself. Like you don't want to be caught off guard necessarily. I think you might want to be prepared for the worst, and hoping for the best so that you show up as you want to. The horse, two things that I get with this one. One is like, take off on a horse. And that's probably what you want to do, right? You probably don't want anything to do with this situation. And you would love to be able to ride off on your horse and not have to deal. But the other thing that comes to mind is a horse is large and unmovable. And I'm going to venture to say, and also, now that I think about it, so is an iceberg or a glacier, large and immovable when they want to be. That very well might be this situation. there is likely nothing that you're going to say or contribute or do that is going to change the situation, because this is not a you issue. This is the other participants. They need to work on themselves. They need to work through their own issues. It is not something that you can do for them. This doesn't mean that you won't be affected peripherally based on the situation on a whole. I think that there's a good possibility that that will happen, but you need to remind yourself that this is not about you. This is about them. And the only thing you can do, air signs, is control how you show up and how you behave. I hope that this resonated with you, air signs. Until next time.